Hey, what is going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and today I'm going to be showing you all if you have a PS3 running Han or PS3 Exploit version 3, how you can build and install backup package files that you can load onto your PS3, and this is mainly going to be from a disk rip of some kind. So what I've done here, I've actually gotten a few games. I've tested this out myself. These are games from my own collection that I have ripped over, and I've finally gotten a few working, so I'm going to be the first one to tell you all. First of all, if you do want to follow this guide, check out my previous tutorial, which I'll have linked down below in the description, showing how to set up PS3 Exploit version 3, aka Han, aka Ethanol, on your system, because you're going to need a few things from there and just the preliminary steps of how to get everything going in order to know how to do this. Now, I can't really recommend this all too much unless you don't really have any other option, like you don't want to get a hold of another jailbroken custom firmware enabled PS3. The reason why I say that is because I've struggled quite a bit getting some games up and running on here. I've still run into issues, plus not all PS3 games are going to be compatible with this method. I'm going to get into that here shortly, but there's going to be a compatibility list that you can go over, so really only do this if you absolutely have to. But if you are prepared to do so, make sure you have your PS3 available to you, make sure it has Han already installed on it, make sure you know how to utilize things such as enabling Han using like Han Toolbox here, for example. And then let's go ahead and go over to our computer. Actually, one more thing before I forget this, I'm also going to show you all how you can do a network install of your packages as well too, but also have a FAT32 formatted flash drive on hand just in case you have some games that are a bit small. So I'm going to be covering all of that here. But anyways, let's go ahead and move over to our PC. So first of all the links will be down below in the description for this, but I want to direct you all to the custom firmware to official firmware compatibility list. This is over on PS3 Developer Wiki, and this is as it explains here. It's not all the games, but it's quite a few games where it shows what they can do. And this is where you get into the downfall of this. So like for example, Afro Samurai, the US version works just fine, it shows. But then this one, Generations of War, custom firmware to official firmware helper version 8, so you need a later version of it. But then there's other games like for example, Assassin's Creed Rogue, it just does not work. Other games then Batman Arkham Origins, right here exclusive method, you must pre-install game data before DTU, meaning you have to pop in the game, install the game data, and then you can do the actual rip and the install and all that stuff. So you see, it's not a one size fits all. There are a lot of games that do have issues. That's why I'm kind of trying to steer people more towards a custom firmware enabled system as opposed to Han. But again, if there's a game on here that works perfectly fine and you're okay with this, then it works out. But I'm just telling you all, be prepared to run into a few issues. So you should look for your game on here. Now my game I'm looking for is Painkiller, Hell and Damnation. So this is the game I have. Now this is a BLES version and it's been confirmed to work and there seems to be no issues. I have a BLUS copy and that seems to work so far, so that's why I'm going to be continuing with this. Plus the game is quite small at about 2.2 gigabytes, so it'll make for a fast enough tutorial as opposed to some other games I've had that are, 12, 15 gigabytes. So that's the game that I'm going to be picking here. So now let's go ahead and download a few things that we will need. First of all, we're going to need custom firmware to official firmware helper. So you can go to the releases and download the latest one. I'm going to get version 11 hotfix 1 and just click on the release.zip to download this. Now I've already downloaded this here, but I would recommend just naming it custom firmware to official firmware version 11, something along those lines. The next thing you will need is PS3 Exploit Resigner. Just click source code here to download it. Next up is PKG Linker or Package Linker. I might use those terms interchangeably. Just download it from right here. And I'm going to have separate links for the other two programs here, but the other ones I would recommend you use are PS3 Generate lic.dat as well as Make Backup PKG. Now, the last thing we need, which seems kind of self-explanatory, is the game. where do we get our game from? Well, the method that I had used, I ended up, because I have a Blu-ray drive available to me, I ended up taking the Blu-ray disc and I just popped it into my computer and I copied it over. So I'd made a ISO image of it. So for example, I have it mounted here. What you need to do if you do this is you need to get a hold of your game, and the only folder you need is PS3_game. So I'm going to copy this out, go back here, and I'm going to make a new folder, call it Painkiller, and paste it in there. So get your PS3_game folder set up, and you should be good at this point. It is also good to know that you need to do this with a game. The only games that will work if it is disk-based, the only games that will work are games that have had at least one update published for them. If your game has never been updated, this method will not work. But if it has had at least one update published for it, then it will work. And Painkiller, I believe, has one update for it. So either way, we have all of this set up here, and the last thing I have, which I did not cover it in this tutorial, but in the previous tutorial I did in Han, near the end of that I tell you all to dump your ACT and IDPS files. They are right here, you are going to need them. You cannot share these are per console, per account. So for example, you are going to be using these to build your games. So if you build a game and you install it on your PS3, and then you have a family member that has another PS3, you can't install those same package files on there, they're not going to work. So every single time you do this, you need to resign them per console, per account, which essentially comes down to they need to have the matching ACT and IDPS files for that system. So you can only get these are all individual is what I'm saying. So because I have one PS3 I'm going to install this to, this will work just fine. But either way, we now have everything we need here, thankfully. So the first thing you need to do here is grab this PS3 generate lic, right click, and extract it. Now go into your game, go to PS3 Game, and we're going to delete this lic.dat file. Now I know it seems kind of crazy deleting a file out of here. I've noticed when I don't delete this file, I get an error on my game. Every time I install it, I get an error saying that I need to put the disk in to play the game. Obviously that's not going to work for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to create our own license file. So I've seen some people say they don't mention this, or some people say you don't have to do it. In my experience, if I don't do this, the game just does not work at all. So I'm going to delete lic.dat. That's the only folder I'm going to delete. And now go back here, open up PS3 generate lic.dat. Here's the application. And now we need to drag and drop the games folder. So to do this, you just go back over to PS3_game, drag, drop it, and here it will say one file generated. Press OK and exit out of that. And now look in here. So open up PS3 Game and take a look at this. There's a new lic.dat folder, and inside of here a new lic.dat file. And that's all you need. So we've now generated the new license file. That's all good. At this point, we now need to convert our package over. So one thing you're going to need is you're going to need a lot of storage space on your computer, as well as some time as well too. Now this game is only about 2 gigabytes in size, so it's not bad, but think about if you have a 10 gigabyte, 20, 30 gigabyte game, because you're essentially going to be packing this about 3 times. So since I have a 2 gigabyte game, with the way this process is going to work, I would recommend having anywhere from 6 to 8 gigabytes. However, if you have a 10 gigabyte game, you need anywhere from 30 to 40 gigabytes worth of free space available. Anyways, what we can do here is take custom firmware to official firmware, right click, extract it out. And what I'm going to do here, as you can see, everything is available in this. I'm just going to go back, go into Painkiller, cut out PS3 Game, and paste it into custom firmware to official firmware helper. So that's it. Now right click the helper, run it as administrator, and let this do its thing. As you can see, there is one patch that was available, so it downloaded the patch, it extracted it, and what it's going to do is it's now going to rebuild it into 2 separate folders. It's going to make a folder for the game and it's going to make a folder for the patch. So you just need to wait a little bit. This will only take 2 or 3 minutes for me, but again, if you have a large game, it's going to take much longer. So just wait here and be patient. And as you can see, that is now done. So you might get something like this saying that it could not delete the source folder, access is denied. You can just press any key to exit, that's fine. I seem to always get that error, but this is what you're looking for. You're looking for a new folder name, so it's going to be your game name with underscores instead of spaces, and it's going to have the game ID tied to it. And if you check in PS3 Game, take a look at this, there's no files in here because it ends up deleting them, but sometimes it can't delete the folders. So what I'm going to do is just delete PS3 Game because that's just empty folders, it's no longer needed. And now this is our actual game. We have BLUS and we have InPub. InPub is the game, BLUS is the patch. So I'm going to cut this out and just move it to our folder right here. So this is going to be our game. To clean up a little bit, I'm going to get rid of these 2 files because we're not going to need them right now. So now we have our game available. What we need to do is we need to turn that into a package file. So what I would recommend is go ahead, right click, extract to here, whatever you want to do, go into make backup package and copy all of these out, the do file and the 2 make package files, paste them into the same folder as your 2 folders. So here you should have your patch, your game, your do, and make package 1, make package 2. To continue with this, just double click do.bat, and what it's now going to do is it's going to create a game package file, create a patch package file, and create a license package file. So again, just wait a few minutes for this. If you have a small game, it won't take too long. If you have a large game, go ahead and do something while this is happening. So as you can see, it's now created the 3 packages we need, and it says successfully created packages, so press any key to exit. And now we have 3 package files. We have our game, patch, and license files. So keep these here for now, but we are going to move them into the resigner folder. So now we need to go back and get PS3 Exploit resigner and extract this out. Now once PS3 Exploit resigner is available to us, the first thing I want you all to do is grab your ACT and IDPS files. If you don't have these, you should have them, but if you do not have them, follow my previous tutorial, and near the end I cover how to dump your ACT and IDPS files. You have to have these 2. So first get your act.dat file, go into the resigner, input act_dat, and paste it in there. Next up, we need to get our IDPS file. So copy your idps.hex file, go into PS3 Exploit resigner, input IDPS hex, and paste it in there. Now it's been optioned for our specific console. The final thing we need is the game files. So go back and go over to where your package files have been created. You should have game, patch, and license. Move these out of here and then go into resigner, input, packages, and paste. To double check, this is what you should have inside of your input folder. In act.dat, you should have your act.dat file. In IDPS_hex, you should have your IDPS hex file. And in packages, you should have 3 packages per game. That is game, patch, and license. Now that all those are done and situated, we need to resign these to work on our console. So now just double click on resign Windows and let it do its thing. So as you can see, it now finished up. It has finished resigning everything, and it says output files, and these are all of our output file locations. So just press any key to continue, click on output, packages, and you should have all your packages here. You should have your game, patch, and license packages. The only difference with them is they all now have underscore signed at the end of each. So for all of these, what I'm going to do is move them out by cut. So now for the actual game transfer, you have 2 methods that you can choose from. Either one, you can copy it to a drive and then install it from there. So for example, right here, I have a FAT32 formatted flash drive. I can copy this game, the patch, and the license files all over here, and then just install it straight through the PS3. However, what if your game is bigger than that? What if you have a 10 or a 12 gigabyte game? Well, at that point, you would have to do it through your network. So that is why I ended up using PKG Linker. And on top of that, that's also why I highly recommended using a wired internet connection for both your PC and your PS3, so that way you could have a reliable, faster transfer. So at this point, I'm going to essentially show you both methods here, but we're going to use an application called PKG Linker. So when you do this, first of all, go back to where your game has been output, right here. In packages, grab all 3 packages and cut them. So we're going to move them out of here. And now create a new folder, choose where you want to host your games in the future. I'm going to host them here in a folder called PKG. You can change this later on by rerunning package linker and then reinstalling the package list package file, but for now we're just going to set this as our work folder. So go into your folder that you've decided on and paste the game in there. So as you can see, this is our final signed game. When that is all done, go back here and grab package linker. I'm going to copy this and paste it into the same folder as our game. Now all you need to do is double click this. Export files and start serving packages now. You want to say yes. Now say OK to extract package files. And you do want to use the built-in server, and do not change any of the settings, but hit OK there. For this, all you need to do is click through by saying next and install, and let it install Apache. This is just going to be a portable installation that will sit in this folder. Click finish when this is done, and now resign with PS3 Exploit resigner. When that's done, it's not going to exit out automatically, so just type enter twice. That's what I normally do. Sometimes a third time, and it's going to save out these 2 files. Click OK, and it's going to bring up a few windows. It's going to bring up this Apache portable, which you can minimize. It's going to say server is running. Click OK on that. It's going to bring up package linker as well, and your packages are sitting there ready to be delivered to your PS3. So just minimize that. You also, in this process, might get a request to go through your firewall. Just allow access so you can communicate to your PS3. So now at this point, don't touch any of these files, but we do need this package list PKG file. So all you need to do is copy this and paste it to the root of your flash drive. If you're going to be installing the game from your flash drive, you can just paste the game to your flash drive here, but we're going to be doing it over the network right here. So either way, all you need to do is eject your flash drive at this point, and then take it out, pop it into your PS3, and continue from there. So when you're back at your PS3, make sure that your USB drive is showing. Now go to Han Toolbox and run Han Enabler. Go ahead, close the browser when it asks you to, and then exit out of that. Now go to your package manager, and if you're installing locally from your flash drive, all you need to do is go to install package files, standard, and install the game files from there. However, since I'm going to be doing package list, just install this. Now, once that's installed, if you're doing this through the network, you can go back to your package manager, and down here, it's going to show install packages from web server. This will be a new feature that you have. Now, if you ever want to edit this path in the future, like for example, if you decide to move package linker somewhere else, all you need to do is rerun it, get the new package list file, reinstall it, and then restart your console for this to update. But assuming you have done this for the first time, go ahead and press X. And as you can see, these are all of our files that we need. So we have our game, our patch, and the license file. And one last thing on this as well too, if let's say you get 3 or 4 games done and you decide to install those as well too, and you move them into that folder, all you need to do is rerun package linker from that folder, and then click here for refresh package list, download the app from here, and once it's done, it will update the package list for you. But either way, what we need to do is install the game now. So go back into install from web server, pick your game, press X, and press yes on here. And now just wait. Because this is the PS3, you're going to have to wait to download your game, and it's going to install the game. Now, because I'm maxing out the network connection here on the PS3, my rule of thumb has been to essentially double whatever I see. So for example, at the beginning here, the game said it was going to take 3 minutes to download. Double that, it's probably going to take 3 minutes as well to install, so the entire process for the game itself is going to take about 6 minutes, so just wait. So now with that completed, just go back, go to package installer, install packages, and now install your patch. Finally, go back, go to your web server, and install the license. Now you can go back, and if you look down here, you should have your game. So what's left to do? Just press X on it and have fun. And as you can see, it is booting up and it is playing, so we should be good to go at that point. Now again, I've had issues here and there with some games still installed on here. I finally got them working using this method. That was a lot of trial and error on here, but I'm happy I was able to get this up and running. But again, if you're wanting, mostly 100% compatibility, it's really best to get a hold of a PS3 that can be jailbroken and have custom firmware installed on that. Han is great and it's awesome if you don't have any other option, but if possible, I would still recommend to anyone go with a full custom firmware system as opposed to a Han enabled system. Either way though, this is what we have here. So one thing you might have issues with, I'm not sure, but I noticed my XMB is really slow when running a game off here. You might have an issue with that, so sometimes your PS3 might beep and turn off at you when you're trying to exit the game. Either way though, it is working, so I'm happy of that. It is all loading up. Anyways, that's about all there is to it with this tutorial. So this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would very much be appreciated, and if you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too. But let me know what your thoughts have been on Han and PS3 Exploit version 3 here in this case, and what all more you'd like to see from this if possible.